Uploaded to YouTube 13 years ago, over 933 million views. Bonnie Tyler's Total Eclipse of the Heart was a global success. #1 spot on the Billboard's Top 100 for over 29 weeks, and Bonnie Tyler's only #1 hit. It's a sad and powerful love story about wanting to get back with an ex. All you want them to do is turn around. Just turn around and remember the good times we had. It's a love story. The only thing is, it's not a love story. That's not the narrative. Despite the mass popularity of this song, people still don't understand the true narrative. It's not what you think it's about. So let's look into how the song first came about. So it wasn't even written by Bonnie Tyler. First of all, it was written by composer Jim Steinman, who was best known at the time for writing songs for people like Meatloaf. He wrote that, I'll do anything for love, but I wouldn't do that, powerful rock ballads. Now, before being approached to write a song for Bonnie Tyler, he was working on a vampire musical, which was based on the 1922 vampire flick Nosferatu. So Jim Steinman, he was just writing songs for this musical. The musical never ended up taking off. Now, when people came to him and said, hey, would you write a song for Bonnie Tyler, please, thank you very much, he just kind of went through some old songs he had, dusted them off. He said, oh, this one was a good one, this one would do. Gave them that, didn't he? The original name for the song was Vampires in Love. Why? Because the song is actually about vampires in love. Yes, it's a love story, but not about humans. It's about vampires. Jim actually spoke about this with Playbill back in September 2002 when he said, with Total Eclipse of the Heart, I was trying to come up with a love song, and I remembered I actually wrote that to be a vampire love song. Its original title was Vampires in Love, because I was working on the musical for Nosferatu, which I just mentioned. The other great vampire love story. If anyone listens to the lyrics, they're really like vampire lines. It's all about darkness, the power of darkness, and love's place in the dark. Which, speaking of the dark, if you want to know where I get any of these lights from, I've got the stargazing light, I've got the little LED lights that I use, all the camera equipment, the microphone I use, all the links for that are in the description. So if you're interested in picking any of these up, I use relatively cheap stuff. Check out links in the description on where you can get those. With that being said, let's get back into it. So the song is about vampires, which makes a lot of sense with the video. There's no debate on the fact that Total Eclipse of the Heart has got one of the weirdest music videos ever. But now when you rewatch it, and I want you to go rewatch it with this in mind, and it's actually about vampires, it all starts making sense. You got this one part in the video where there's these like creepy choir kids, and they're just in the dark, and they've got these weird glowy lights, and then all of a sudden Bonnie Tyler comes out, and one of them just like flies up to her face. It doesn't make any sense. But when you watch that knowing it's about vampires, like, oh, it only makes sense. That's a little vampire kid. I've never seen anything more vampire-y. He literally looks like a little Edward Cullen flying at Bonnie Tyler. I'm not gonna lie, there's still some parts of the video that don't make any sense whatsoever. It's almost like they had like a 2-hour time slot of this mansion, and the director was like, let's just get as much footage as we can, and then we'll just put something together. It's like a load of this B-roll gone wild. Like, he was like, ninjas, yeah, let's get some ninjas in, they'll do a little fight scene. How about some like rugby players, some American football players? Get those in too. Or what about the extras from Greece? Get your leather jackets, get your sunglasses, get on the staircase, start busting some moves. Let's just get whatever we can in. It's weird, right? But there are vampire undertones throughout. Now, it is worth noting that when he passed this song on, he never mentioned the interpretation, and Bonnie Tyler has came out and said she never understood that interpretation, and she also only ever seen it as a love song, which gets me to a really interesting debate. So stick with me to the end of the video, because I really want your opinion on that fact, okay? But we'll get to that. Before we get to that, let's re-look at those lyrics that we know so well, keeping in mind vampires. Turn around bright eyes, which offers a much clearer vision when you imagine vampires, right? They've got these big bright eyes. Turn around bright eyes, vampire. Then you've got this bit where it goes on and it's saying, I need you now tonight, I need you more than ever, and if you only hold me tight, we'll be holding on forever. If you've ever done karaoke, I'm sure you're very much familiar with this one. Together, we can take it to the end of the line. Your love is like a shadow on me all of the time. All of the time. I don't know what to do, and I'm always in the dark. We're living in a powder keg and giving off sparks. I really need you tonight. See, it's about darkness. Your love is like a shadow on me because you're a vampire, right? I don't know what to do, and I'm always in the dark. Why? Why are you always in the dark? Because you can't go out in the light, because you're a vampire. It's not no massive concept about love and darkness, it's about literal darkness. You're a vampire, you can't go out in the light. Then it goes on to have this bit where it's like, forever's gonna start tonight. Forever is gonna start tonight. You've got those two things, forever and tonight. Why forever? Because you're a vampire, you're immortal, you don't die. And it's starting tonight because you've just been turned into a vampire. So forever literally starts tonight. And why is it tonight? Why? Because once again, vampires, they cannot go out in the light. It's about darkness. It's vampires. And what about this bit? Once upon a time, there was light in my life, but now there's only love in the dark. If that doesn't say vampire, I don't know what does. Once upon a time, yeah, there was light in your life because you was a human wandering around doing human stuff in the sunlight. Now, you're a vampire, so you're only ever going to find love in the dark. Mad, isn't it? Who knew? Vampires. If you knew, give this video a like, show me that you knew. And if you didn't know, also give it a like. Why the hell not? It really helps me. If you like me, subscribe. If you don't like me, don't subscribe. If you don't like the video, don't like. Just know that I'd appreciate it. Moving on to my conclusion, and the bit I wanted to really speak to you about is Jim Steinman knew exactly what he was writing this for. He was writing it about vampires, for a vampire musical. Bonnie Tyler, who performed it, had no idea. She just interpreted it as a love story. So where does the real interpretation stand is what I want to know. Is it with the person who writes it, with a certain intention, or is it the person who performs it? You know? Or is it us and how we interpret it? Because an artist might do a song, and if the whole collective audience of listeners hears it in a different way, interprets it in a different way, then isn't that the real interpretation? Not how they meant it to be, but how we actually perceive it? Like, who's the most important? Like, what I really want to know is, to you, who is the most important in this lineup? Is it the person that wrote it and their intention, their interpretation? Is it the person who performs it? Or is it us, the listeners? I guess it's different for each person, but I really love to know your thoughts on the matter. So do comment below. Let's start a little conversation. I'll reply to you and we'll have a little chat about interpretations of songs. And if you've got any examples of other songs, that'll be really great as well. And with that, goodbye.